While some people are saying that 2025 is an absolutely terrible time to be buying a house, for others it could be the perfect opportunity to do just that. But if you're thinking, how could this possibly be good for some and not others? I'm going to be sharing some tips later on in this video about how it could get you ahead financially, help you build wealth a little bit faster, and even save you money down the road compared to waiting to buy a house later. But before we get to all of that, if we have not met yet, my name is Brock and I help folks just like you buy and sell homes all over San Antonio and the surrounding areas. So if you happen to have any questions, or if you would like some help finding that perfect house for you and your family, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I've got all of my contact information down below, and I would love to be a resource for you, however that looks for you and your family there. All right, so let's start our conversation here by talking about the different pricing of homes. Yes, here in San Antonio, we've seen about a 3% decline in pricing over the last 12 months, which might raise some red flags and should be a concern to you if you are a homeowner. However, if you are looking to buy a home, this could be used to your advantage because the prices of homes have actually come down. Now, this doesn't necessarily indicate that the home prices are going to continue downward. It's just the fact that we have a lot of people who are not looking to enter the market to buy a house for one reason or another, with interest rates being a major concern for most folks. And we'll touch on interest rates in just a moment. But while we're here on the pricing of homes, we have seen some wild swings of pricing over the last couple of years. Back in 2021, 2022, there was a lot of people entering the market to buy a house because there was a huge demand for these homes because interest rates were so low. So that fueled a frenzy, and a lot of people flooded to the real estate market to buy homes, and that just naturally drove up prices through competition, through a lack of supply and a high demand there of the homes. And as I just alluded to, the last 12 months, we've seen a small decrease in the pricing of homes. And that is due to, again, a lack of people out there trying to buy homes and a lot of homeowners ready to sell their homes. With all of the homes for sale, we're seeing our inventory levels get back to a more normal market. And a more normal market is about 6 to 7 months worth of inventory, meaning if no more new homes came to market, it would take about 6 to 7 months to sell through all of the homes that are currently actively for sale at the current pace that homes are selling at. And even right now, we're seeing about 2 homes for sale for every 1 buyer out there. So if you are looking to buy a home, you can really take your time shopping around and finding those homes that meet your needs, and even making some negotiations that are really in your favor. Even though these home prices are already lower or even coming down in some cases, a lot of home buyers that I'm working with personally are able to get even better pricing on these homes because these homeowners are ready to sell their houses and move on. But although I'm saying that these home prices have come down over the last 3 months, I am seeing them become more stable across the board. We're not seeing as many price drops, or not as big of a price drops, and homeowners as well as these new construction builders are kind of getting to their bottom dollar when these homes are on the market for sale. And so with this, you're already getting some pretty good deals. Again, you can negotiate a little bit better on pricing and ask for additional things through the sale of the house. But you as a home buyer can feel way more confident in the offers that you make, knowing that there are minimal to no competition against other home buyers out there in the market competing for the same houses. There may be some situations here in the San Antonio market where there may be a couple of offers that go in on a house at the same time, but for the most case, that is just not happening anymore. At least here in the San Antonio market, we're seeing a lot of people just putting in their offers and spending a few days going through negotiations to really get a good deal and make sure that everyone is happy at the end of the day with whatever the deal is and whatever negotiations are going on. Now let's talk about interest rates. I know this is a hot topic because everyone seems to be focused on the prices of homes as well as interest rates when it comes to buying a house. Over the last year, we've seen some pretty high interest rates that we haven't seen in quite some time. They've been in the mid to high 6s, maybe even the low 7% depending on the time frame of the year. So they've been quite high, and that's been scaring a lot of people away from wanting to buy a house. And I don't blame you, especially when we saw interest rates at like 2 and 3% back in 2021 and 2022. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see interest rates that low again. Unfortunately, we had a whole worldwide pandemic happen to even get the rates that low in the first place, and I do not personally want that to happen again. So for interest rates to come down lower, I don't think they're going to make a huge move, but we are, of course, at the mercy of whatever the market does and the 10-year treasury as well as the Feds. There's a lot of different factors there that play into the mortgage interest rates themselves. But as I mentioned already in this video, we have seen interest rates come down, and in fact, they've hit their lowest point in the last 12 months, at least at the time of this recording. And let me flip over to my desktop here. I want to show you what I'm seeing. This is a website called Mortgage News Daily. This is where I look at a lot of things. And of course, at the time of me filming this video right here, you can see the date of this video that I'm making. You can see the average conventional rate is at 6.27. That's actually a pretty big improvement. It's even lower than that article that I was referencing for the 12-month lows. So we're seeing interest rates pretty low. If you're looking at a FHA or VA loan, you can see here that they're even lower across the board. And that is pretty significant. That is a lot of really good news for people who are wanting to go out there and buy a home. And in fact, we're seeing mortgage applications rise because of the fact that these lower interest rates are here as of right now. And in fact, if you're looking to take advantage of some of these lower rates, not only are you getting a lower average market rate right now, but a lot of home builders here in the San Antonio area are already buying down these interest rates. I just helped a family who are military and they're using their VA loan to buy a house. They locked in a 2.875% interest rate for the first year on their mortgage, and then it goes up to 3.875 on year 2, and then years 3 through 30 it goes up to 4.875, and it stays there for the remainder of that loan that they have there. So even at 4.875, that's a pretty significant change from the 6.25% that you saw there, or the 6% for the VA that we just saw on my screen. So that is already some really good stuff there. Outside of that, I've seen a lot of builders advertising a 4.99% rate. I think I saw this morning some builders referencing a 3.99% fixed rate for the loan. So these builders are already buying down the interest rate for you. That's no cost to you as a buyer, assuming that these builders have them. And as a little caveat, that's the current incentives on the builders. If you're watching this video down the future, these incentives change on a weekly basis sometimes. So those interest rates may not be that low by the time you see this video, unfortunately, but just let me know. I'd be happy to get you the latest updated information on what the current incentives, including the interest rates, are from the builders and share that information with you. But if you're not looking at new construction homes and you're wanting an existing house, in a lot of cases, these homeowners are willing to help you cover some of your closing costs to include your interest rate buy down. Meaning if you're going to make an offer on a house, yes, the prices are already lower. Maybe you negotiate a lower price, and on top of that, ask the seller for their own money as a seller concession so that you can buy your interest rate down even further. So instead of seeing a 6.25%, maybe you buy it down a little bit lower, make it more affordable, make it more attractive for you as the home buyer to go out and buy one of these houses. And if you do buy one of these houses, even if you do not take advantage of buying down the interest rate, right now you're able to lock in a house with these lower prices while there's minimal competition. And then as prices of homes continue to go up over the next several years, you will be able to eventually refinance that interest rate whenever it makes sense for you and your family to make that refinance decision and get a lower rate and reduce your monthly payment even further at that point. Now, aside from the pricing of homes as well as the interest rates, why else should you consider buying a house in 2025, or why would it make sense for you to buy a house in 2025? Well, one of the big things that we see every single year is the fact that the price of rent continues to increase, especially in major markets like San Antonio. Now, this last year has been a little bit different with the pricing of homes kind of decreasing. Rent has kind of stabilized and not really gone one way or another, but typically we see an increase in rent year over year. And with this, with my personal experience from renting apartments and homes in the past, what I've seen is that the landlords or the apartment complex that I was renting at typically increased the rent every single time I renewed the lease. Sometimes it was only by like $20 a month, other times it was by like $50 or $100 a month. And so every single year, this rent was increasing from when I originally started renting that place. So as that continues to happen, of course, the pricing of your rent just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing and doesn't really stabilize anywhere. So if you think about that $2,000 a month rent for a house that you're renting, if you put that same $2,000 towards a mortgage, you're actually going to be building equity every single month inside of your house that you own. So the sooner you can start paying for a mortgage for yourself instead of someone else, you build equity and wealth for yourself and your family versus doing that for some landlord that you have no idea who it is. Outside of just building equity in your home through paying down your mortgage over time and letting the value of your house increase during that same period of time, you also have some tax benefits, because I know you can do a few different things as far as the tax scenarios there, but please talk and consult your tax professional on those benefits for the taxes, because everyone might be different, but I know you can claim mortgage interest and some of the closing costs as well on your taxes. So just again, talk to your tax professional and get their advice on it before you go out and do that. But there are some tax benefits to owning a home. Outside of the pricing of homes and the interest rates and everything else going on in the real estate market, at the end of the day, you also need to be financially ready to buy a house. So if you've got really good finances, meaning you've got some money saved up, whether it's in a savings account, 401k, IRA, or some other forms of savings, if you've got a stable and steady income, meaning, you've got steady, strong employment, you're not going to be losing your job in the next few months, or you're maybe not changing careers arrears in the next several months, then this could be a good opportunity for you to do so. And you also need to have a clear budget as well. So if you know, like, hey, I only want to spend X amount, then you could be in a really good position to go out and buy a house in 2025. Because let's face it, if you're planning to stay in a house for at least 5 to 10 years, maybe even longer, then the timing of the market doesn't matter as much, because down the road in the 5 to 10 years, you have ample amounts of time to refinance into a lower rate, have that lower price of the house locked in, build in some equity into the house as well. So whenever you do sell the house, you can make a little bit of a profit off of it. That would be all some really good contributing factors to consider as well. But ultimately, the best time to buy a house is when you are ready to do so. There's a lot of people who have this thought of like, you need to buy a house, but if you're not in a financial position to do so, and you're not comfortable with the payments, then you may need to wait to save up a little bit more, or maybe you need to go after that pay raise or promotion or whatever it needs to be, so that you can be in a better spot financially in order to do so. And so if you're thinking about buying a house in 2025, don't let the fear of the market and what other people are saying hold you back from doing so. If you happen to have any questions about, hey, is this the right time for me? Am I in a good spot to be buying a house? Then please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to sit down with you, answer any questions you have, and give you a true, honest answer of, hey, you are ready to buy a house if you want to, or no, maybe you should wait. Because I'm not here to be pushy and make you do something you don't want to do, but I'd love to sit down with you, answer any questions you have. So feel free to reach out at any time. I've got all my contact information down below, and I would love to, again, be a resource for you, help answer any questions, and if you are ready to move forward and buy a house, of course, help you find that perfect house for you and your family. Well, thanks again for watching. If this video gave you some confidence to buying a house in 2025, then go ahead and give me a like on the video, give me that thumbs up there, and while you're down there, please hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon as well, so that you'll be notified the very next time I post a video. And with that, thanks one final time for watching, and I can't wait to talk to you guys here soon.